Week 1 is over for the most part. We have some games later, but we have to recap the first Saturday of real college football. First full Saturday, we have to recap it. There were some disappointments, I would say largely disappointments from this weekend. And then there were some disasters. So we're going to get into it. If you wouldn't mind, drop down below, subscribe, drop a comment, and I will respond to you. Here's the show. We have game recaps. We have muffins, and you're thinking, what is a muffin? You're about to find out. And then we have the what if poll. And there will be some caveats on the what if poll because some of those teams still have not played, but I will not be able to do it after those teams play, so we have to do it before those teams play. Here we go. We're jumping right in. And there was no other place to start this show other than Alabama, Florida State. Folks, is Alabama dead? Are they dead? Did Florida State actually kill the Alabama Crimson Tide? I was watching this football game. Alabama scored on their first drive. Then Florida State scored on their first drive. There was a stat that the ESPN broadcast threw up there that said this is the first time in 23 years that Alabama has let an opponent score a touchdown on their first drive in the first game of the year. What an insane stat that is. Now, I know it's probably because Alabama's been playing a bunch of scrubs in the first week of the year for 23 years, but that is still an astonishing stat, ladies and gentlemen, an astonishing stat. And when they threw that up there, and Thomas Castellanos was running all over the place, and Florida State was running the ball down Alabama's throat, I got very concerned. My concern level went up. Okay, and before we talk about the concern for Alabama, we're going to talk about the winners. Okay, and that's Florida State. They won this football game, and the biggest thing I saw in this game, why they won this game, both offensively and defensively, was speed. Speed, speed, speed. Okay, they were the faster team. I couldn't have been more impressed with the speed that Florida State had. They were faster at every single position. Okay, quarterback, yeah. Thomas Castellano, he's a quick dude, okay? Running back, they were faster at running back. I know Alabama didn't have Jam Miller, I get it, okay? I don't care. I still think Florida State would have been faster. Wide receiver, the dudes that Florida State had, they could have ran the 40-yard dash in the Olympics, okay? That's not an Olympic event, but they could have been in the Olympics for it. They are quick on offense, okay? Not to mention the defensive line for Florida State just ate Alabama's offensive line alive. They were quick off the ball in pass rush, in the run blocking. They blew Alabama off the ball. It was astonishing to watch. I was in disbelief of the speed from Florida State, even the speed in the secondary. Those guys were flying all over the place, and you would have thought, that's Alabama, right? Why is Alabama wearing Florida State's uniforms? Why is this happening? What is this, some crazy thing they're doing in week 1 of football this year where you wear the opposing team's uniforms? No. Florida State was just a better football team yesterday. Now, will they be a better team across the entire season? Tough to say, but I'm a believer in the Florida State Seminoles, okay? It doesn't take hard to convince me. I am easily swayed, and I go by my emotions. I go by what I feel, and sometimes that's an issue. But it is fun. It is fun. You don't stay level-headed. You got to be up and down because that's fun. Okay, you can't get to the season and stay level-headed the entire time. No. You got to have up and downs. In Florida State, we are way up on the Florida State Seminoles. Okay. Again, offense. Squirrel White. Who knew Squirrel White was on the Florida State Seminoles this year? I did. Did I know he was going to be that good and that quick? He looked phenomenal yesterday, Squirrel White did, okay? Mekhi Danzy, that reverse they ran with him in the first half, boop, blew by everybody. That guy's quick. And then Jalen Lucas, this guy is quick, okay? Again, they just have speed, and speed kills. Okay, Florida State's going to be able to win every game they play this year. Based on what I saw yesterday, their speed will keep them in every single game. Also, their pass rush is awesome. It is awesome. Number 7, defensive end, Stephen Thompson. He's a dog. He is a dog. Watch out for him in every single Florida State game. He was eating people alive. You know Caden Proctor? Yeah, he was beating Caden Proctor pretty handedly yesterday. Okay, that's guy's widely considered a top 10 pick in the upcoming draft. Stephon Thompson was giving him fits yesterday. Okay, this game turned me into a believer for the Florida State Seminoles. They're alive. They are well. They are fast, and I love to watch them. Okay, they were awesome in this football game. For Bama, are they dead? I said it 5 minutes ago. Are they dead? Are they officially dead? Nick Saban's gone. He's never coming back. Did he kill them? Did he just take everything out of that program when he left? Kalen DeBoer comes in, and the toughness of this team is non-existent. This is a weak football team. This is a weak football team. They're not tough. They don't look tough. They look slow. And you would think with the amount of talent on this team, you would get these guys to play quick and play tough. But no, I think they get their money down there and they think, hey, this is great. This is dandy. We don't need to play tough. We don't need to play quick. We don't need to play fast. We're playing Florida State. They're coming off a 2-10 season. These guys are scrubs. That's what it looked like from Alabama. I'm not sure how you can't have these guys ready to come out and play. Okay? I'm not sure how you can't have them ready to go in week 1 of college football, ladies and gentlemen. How can you not have these guys ready to roll, ready to rock? Okay? Disappointing. Kalen DeBoer, we might have an issue. We might have a Kalen DeBoer issue. Okay? This game looked exactly like the Oklahoma-Bama game from last year. Now, they did score 2 defensive touchdowns or close to it in the OU-Bama game last year. OU did. So Bama's defense looked a little better, but they still got ran all over. The offense still had no push. Okay, the offensive line might be an issue for Alabama. It's that or Florida State has one of the best defensive lines in the country, and I'm not sure I'm ready to make that leap based on one game, but the concern level for Alabama after this game, out of 10 here, some people do these out of 5 scales. That's not a scale, okay? That's half of a scale. We do out of 10, okay? I'm an 8 out of 10 for Alabama right now. I'm concerned, folks. I am concerned, and we need to be careful about the Alabama Crimson Tide because I am majorly concerned, like big time concerned for Alabama. They need to figure it out, and they need to figure it out quickly. But Florida State, congrats to you guys. You went from not even being talked about in the pregame show to being the number 1 game in the recap show. That's impressive. Thomas Castellanos. Fun fact, he has been featured in the show before, and boy, was he awesome again. That is Florida State. They are, you need to be a believer, okay? I know it's 1 game. You need to believe in the Florida State Seminoles. I have a feeling when we do our college football playoff redo picks in the middle of the season, Florida State will make an appearance. Just a hunch, just a hunch. Next game up, Texas at Ohio State. We will take a sip here. Patented mug. If you want one of these, we will get one to you. We just had an order last week, and we are in the process of shipping that. So if you're listening to this and you are that person, we are getting it your way. Okay, we are going to get it your way, and we will get it to you. Texas, Ohio State. Look, we said in the preview show, and by we I mean I, and by I mean the Ian Fritts show, and by the Ian Fritts show I mean me. We said that this is going to be two young / inexperienced quarterbacks going up against these 2 strong defenses, and they're going to struggle. And you know what? Lo and behold, these two guys, they struggled. Okay, they didn't look that great. Now the panic meter for everybody in a Texas shirt cheering for Texas has been a million out of 10 for Arch Manning. They need to calm down a little bit. Now, he didn't look great. We'll get to him in a second. But for the entire game, it was exactly what we thought would happen, okay? It was 2 coaching staffs protecting 2 young / inexperienced quarterbacks against 2 top 10 defenses in all of college football. That's what it looked like, and that's what we got, okay? It was very interesting to see. It was very boring to watch. Okay, this game kind of stunk. It was a big time stinker. Not very exciting. Not very action packed. Not a great game to sit down and watch for 4 hours. But you know what I did? I sat down and watched it for 4 hours. This is one where you kind of wanted to have another game on, but not a lot of great games at the 11 o'clock hour. Not a great game to watch, but we did learn some things, or maybe I think we learned some things, okay? Starting with Ohio State. The defense, it doesn't look like they've missed a beat since last year. It looks like they've reloaded on that defensive line after they lost all 4 starters. Edric Houston, big dude in the middle. I'm talking big dude in the middle. Big dude, okay? He's awesome. The linebackers, they still fly around. They are fast, okay? Talking about Florida State speed? Ohio State has that same thing on defense. The linebackers can run, okay? And that's a great thing to have against Texas because they like to spread you out, do little screen passes, do those passes behind the line of scrimmage. And Ohio State has the speed at linebacker and the secondary to get to those places, okay? And that's what I saw yesterday from the Ohio State defense. Offensively, again, it looked like they were trying to protect Julian Sayin. Now, his ball placement in some of these throws that Ohio State ended up dropping, his ball placement was nice. So I think they've got something there in Sayin. But again, Texas has one of the best defenses in the country. They were trying to protect them. Can't blame them for that. They did exactly what I thought they would do. Control it on defense and then win it with a couple things on offense, okay? Switching to Texas, which is probably what everybody wants to hear about. Arch Manning. Look, we said this is exactly what he's going to look like. This is his first real test on the road. He's a young guy, not really that young, 21, but he's an experienced guy, okay? This is his first real test on the road against a really, 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 really good defense. He's going to struggle. And what happened? What happened? It wasn't what Paul Feinbaum said. It wasn't what all these SEC truthers said. Arch Manning's the greatest thing since Tim Tebow. Crazy stuff being said on YouTube, on TV. You need to watch here because we don't say any of stuff like that. We don't make rash decisions, rash conclusions. We don't say any of that. Arch Manning is going to be fine. However, I'm a little concerned about him because some of the throws he was making were questionable. There was the one on 4th down where they threw it to Parker Livingstone in the corner of the end zone and he kind of dropped it, but it was kind of overthrown a little bit. There was a slant for what's his face, Cook, right there. It was a touchdown. He missed him. He threw it to Livingstone. What are we doing? Also, it looked like he was sidearming a lot of throws for no apparent reason. Maybe just to look cool. Maybe he was just. Maybe that's what he does when he's nervous. I'm not sure. I don't know the guy. I haven't seen the guy a whole lot. Okay, that's all I've basically seen is what we got yesterday. But these sidearm throws for no apparent reason, and the misreads are concerning. They're concerning. That's not something you want out of your superstar number 1 overall Heisman future quarterback. Okay, that's not what you want. So I'm a little concerned about Arch. I think he'll be fine. I think the talent's there, the mobility's there. I think they just need to run the offense through that, settle him down a little bit. Steve, if you're listening, do that. Do that more, okay? Offensive line could be an issue as well. I don't think they played particularly well, but the biggest thing is Arch needs to figure out this situation. Concern level for the Texas Longhorns. I'm a 5 out of 10. I think they'll be okay just based on that defense. The defense is so good, and it's going to be good the entire year. So I'm not super worried, but there is some concern there offensively, okay? Next game up, LSU at Clemson. This was a fun game, wasn't it? This was a fun game. Let's take a sip here. Okay, LSU at Clemson. Look, we picked Clemson to win and cover in this football game. And it didn't happen. And it didn't happen because what I said LSU would have to do did. They did what I said they would have to do. Now, am I a little disappointed? Yes, I needed Clemson to win and cover. They didn't. That's tough for me and the budget. But Brian Kelly, he had these boys ready to play. Okay, I mentioned that this out of all the teams playing this weekend, LSU needed this win the most out of every single team. And I think he told his team that. I think Brian Kelly told his guys, hey, this is us. This is our season in week 1 right here. We need this game. And they came out, looked a little sluggish to begin, but out of the second half, they were far and away the better team. Offensive line, defensive line, quarterback, they looked like the better team at every position in the second half of that football game. And again, speed, the theme of the show. The defense looked fast. The offense, Aaron Anderson, I'm not sure if anybody can run with that guy. He is quick. ladies and gentlemen. Okay? It was a tough, hard-fought win for the LSU Bayou Bengals. I was super impressed with Blake Baker and how he's had that defense ready to go in week one of his second year at LSU. I thought the defense would be improved. I thought it would be improved. I didn't think it would be that improved. Look, keeping Cade Klubnik 19 of 38 for 230 yards and 14 in interception, that's a really good day because at the end of last year, Cade Klubnik was being talked about as the best quarterback in all of college football. And you were able to do that. We also had a Harold Perkins sighting. I think he's all the way back. Okay, they had him kind of spying Cade Klubnik in some situations. Super great idea. I would still like to see him rush the passer a little more, but they had him spying Cade Klubnik, and that worked like a charm. Okay, it's like Blake Baker knows what he's doing on the defensive side of the ball. It just takes a year or two to get things really rolling. Okay, loved what I saw from Garrett Nussmeier. He looked in command. He was putting the ball in great spots. The wide receivers from LSU, dogs, and they have a 6'7" tight end. This guy is going to be a problem for every single team they face. I'm not sure what you do against that guy. I'm not sure how you guard him. Clemson's cornerbacks, linebackers, whoever they put on him, they looked, it wasn't even close, and he was just boxing them out and just high pointing the ball. It was impressive. LSU, we're going to have a problem, folks. And the biggest thing in this game, look, Clemson was up 10-3 at halftime. Time of possession was 16-14, I believe, at halftime, or maybe it was split dead even, 15 minutes. Coming out of second half, LSU held the ball for 21 minutes of the 30 second half minutes. 21 minutes. LSU had the football. Clemson only had the football for 9 minutes in the second half. That's how you beat the Clemson Tigers. You keep their best unit off the field. You can't allow them to have the football. That was a killer for them. LSU went on these long drives where they sustained plays, sustained running game, passing game. They kept the ball away. Long drives, tire them out, keep them on the field, and they kept them on the field for the entire second half, basically. Very impressive. Great game plan, switching it up at halftime. Here's what we got to do, players. And the players went and executed it. Super impressed by the LSU Tigers. They're going to be a problem for a lot of teams this year. A lot of teams. Offensive line as well. It looked pretty good against that Clemson defensive line. They held up well. They held up really, really well. Now, Clemson, I was disappointed. Thought this offense was going to come out firing. Now they were missing their number one wide receiver. I get it. That's not an excuse. That's not an excuse that you can have for this stat line for Cade Klubnik. That's a super disappointing. Now, again, going back to disappointments and disasters in week one. This wasn't a disaster. This was just a disappointment, okay? Just a disappointment. I'm disappointed. They're disappointed. They need to bounce back. I think they'll be fine in the mighty ACC. I think they'll be fine. Concern level for the Clemson Tigers, 6 out of 10. Again, the defense looked good. Defensive line, a little concerned about. They didn't get as much push, as much pass rush as I hoped. Also, LSU ran the same play about 8 times in a row, and Clemson was confused every single time. How do we stop a quick screen? You put more guys over there, LSU or Clemson. You put more guys over there, and they couldn't figure it out. So 6 out of 10 on the concern meter for the Clemson Tigers. Next up, muffins. I'm going to take a sip here and then explain what muffins are. Okay. Have you subscribed? Go down there, subscribe. Also, put a comment. What are muffins? Muffins. Since the beginning of this show, we've had this thing called the Certified Stud Muffin. Okay, this is a guy, a player, a coach, a team, an announcer that performs above and beyond expectations and above and beyond our wildest dreams for what we expected and what they gave us. Even if we expected them to do it and they achieved it, if they were high expectations, we give them what we call a certified stud muffin. Okay, you can be a stud muffin, but on this show, we certify them. Okay, the first ever certified stud muffin in the history of the show was Cam Ward, all the way back when he was playing at Washington State. Can you believe that? We knew before everybody that this guy was going to be a really good football player. We had him as the first ever certified stud muffin. I believe that was week 2 of 2023. Go back and watch that video. It was wild, okay? First ever certified stud muffin, Cam Ward, who is the first ever certified stud muffin in 2025. And you can see the muffin tray. So week one's going to go in that top left corner next week when we do the recap video and so on and so forth. So you can see these guys throughout the entire season. There were a couple guys I could have chosen from. Had a couple options, but there was only one place this muffin was going to. That guy right there. Okay, and some of you are thinking, who's this? He didn't look like a football player. He looks kind of old. He is kind of old. His name is Gus Malzahn. Okay, offensive coordinator for the Florida State Seminoles. This guy was cooking up some absolutely beautiful play calls against the Alabama Crimson Tide defense. The game plan. He said, oh, Oklahoma, you had some success on the edges against Alabama. We have more speed than you have last year. That's going to be our advantage. And what did they do? They used it to their advantage, and they killed them with speed. Incredible game plan from Gus Malzahn and that offensive staff over there at Florida State. There was no other place where this man was not going to be the certified stud muffin week 1, 2025. Congrats to Gus Malzahn. He deserves it. They deserve it. Congrats to FSU. I'm a believer. Week 2 what if poll. Look, some of these teams have not played games yet, namely South Carolina, Miami, Notre Dame. Okay, they will be subject to move after I watch their games. So be following on social media to see the final product of this what if poll. But after Saturday, Friday, Thursday, I had to go ahead and reorder some things because we had some things that we were able to watch. Okay, at number 25, Georgia Tech. We dropped them a little bit. I need to see a little bit more from the defense. I wasn't super impressed. I still think the coaching is there. I still think they can be something. 24, SMU Ponies. You didn't win by 50. Needed you to win by 50. Alabama Crimson Tide. I dropped them from, I believe I had them at 8 all the way to 23. I thought about dropping them out of the top 25. I really, really did. I debated it. In fact, I initially deleted them off the graphic. I deleted them from existence. And then I thought, who am I going to replace them with? Who am I going to replace them with? I haven't been super impressed with a lot of teams yet. And that's okay. There's a lot of rust with the players, with the coaches. There's a lot of rust with me when it comes to my gut isn't fully formed in picking football games yet, okay? He needs a little bit more time, the gut does, to pick football games. Number 22, Indiana Hoosiers. Old Dominion's not a bad football team, but needed a little more from them. Ole Miss, concerned in the first half. They got it together in the second half. Iowa State, 7-7, and then they scored about 55 straight points. Love that. Michigan Wolverines, Bryce Underwood may be a pretty good player. He might end up being really good and quicker than I thought he would be. I thought it would take a little longer. He looked pretty good yesterday, and he threw a block. Okay, you love that from your star quarterback. Texas Tech Red Raiders. They were playing maybe the worst team in all of college football, but they made them look like the worst team in all of college football. So that's impressive. 67-7, and they covered for me. Good for you, Texas Tech. Illinois. It was fine. Tennessee. I had Tennessee at 24 last week. We may need to move them up even higher. Joey Aguilar. He looked awesome. He can throw a deep ball. Tennessee may just be offensive juggernauts every year, no matter who their quarterback is, and it's just because of Josh Heupel. Super impressed from the Tennessee Volunteers, okay? TAMU, Texas A&M, Marcel Reed, as advertised. They need to address something here for Marcel Reed. Look, Texas A&M, you were covering the entire game. Right up there, you had it. We had you. Plus, minus 22.5. And then what do you do at the very end of the game? You let UTSA and the Roadrunners score and just ruin my night, okay? Ruin my night. Arizona State. Northern Arizona might be a solid football team. They gave Arizona fits last year, so they might just be a pretty good football team. Well coached. Miami Hurricanes, again, they subject to change. Have not seen them play a football game yet. South Carolina, same thing. Number 11, Texas. I dropped them. I believe I had them at number 4 last week. So, again, there are concerns offensively. Defensively, really good. They're going to be really good. Number 10, Clemson Tigers. Yeah. Had to drop them. Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Haven't played. They could drop. They could rise depending on what they do against Miami here later in the day. Oklahoma Sooners, I dropped them a couple spots because there are some concerns against an Illinois State team that's not that good. But next week we'll see. They're playing Michigan, so we will see who's the real OU or Michigan next week. I think it's OU, but they're maybe. I don't know what. I don't know what to think anymore. Florida Gators, awesome. They're going to be unbelievable. They are going to be unbelievable. And I know they were playing Long Island, the Sharks, okay? But the Gators, they're the real deal. Florida State. I can't believe I have them this high, but I can't get out of my mind what I saw yesterday. They are I think they're really, really good. I really do. I believe it. I believe in the Florida State Seminoles. Do not make me look silly, Florida State. Please. Please. Oregon Ducks. Dante Moore, awesome. Penn State, good, didn't cover, you stink. Georgia, good, didn't cover, you stink. Ohio State at number 2, and I have LSU at number 1. Look, I had LSU at number 2 last week. They go in, beat Clemson in Death Valley. I have to give you the number 1 spot in the country. That is a more impressive win than what Ohio State did. Okay, Ohio State was at home. LSU has the most impressive win in all of college football right now. No doubt in my mind. They're atop the Week 2 what-if poll. Again, subject to change because 3 of these teams we will see and they will get shuffled around. So follow on social media and you will see the end result. At the end of the show here, don't have a slide, don't have a graphic for it, but we do have to address something. The picks weren't good this week, folks, and I'm always transparent with you. We did have a losing week in the picks this week. Now, don't be discouraged. Don't think, oh, Ian, what are we doing? What are we doing? We will get on track. We will get on track. It's a season-long race. It's a season-long thing, okay? It's not a week 1 thing. It's a season-long, okay? We will be positive by the end of the season. Gonna have to adjust some things. The gut's still acclimating to these teams. Haven't seen them play. Now he knows what to do, okay? We will be better with the picks in week 2. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe down below. I love you guys. Bye.
Michigan State, Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the last play of the game. 45, 40, 45, 50, 45. There it goes.